All right, so here's my post-election analysis. Everyone has had an election analysis. I will now issue the correct one of what happened and what went wrong and all this kind of stuff and why Clinton lost and why the election was such a surprise and all this stuff. I think everyone else is talking about it, and the media, if anyone, is the last people you should be listening to. We should have learned one thing about the media's opinion, which is the media's opinion is probably wrong, okay? They report on the facts, that's one thing. They have enough trouble getting that right. But when they start talking about opinions, then they are just probably blowing shit out of their ass, okay? So here's the thing. First of all, we have to look at the Electoral College count as it was presented to us by the states, okay? And the sheer fact of the matter is that if you sort everything by Electoral College votes in increasing order, you will find that Hillary Clinton did not win a single electoral vote until about the 26th state in that list, okay? So we got about halfway through the states that Trump won. He won literally most of the states, literally, okay? That's the first problem, okay? The second thing is that we really have to, at this point, take the electoral vote count reported by the states as true, okay? We don't have a choice. And that does raise a large red flag here that if you're talking about partisan Republican politics to the point where the Republicans will not even vote on a Supreme Court appointment, okay, when there's two, not one but two Supreme Court seats open, and they still will not even vote on them, and they will still say this appointment should go to the next president, and all this kind of nonsense, okay? We're talking about a year before the election. They're talking about, oh, sorry, you've already served, 2/3 of your term or 3/4 of your term. Now it's time for the next vote to go to the next president, the next appointment to go to the next president, not you. When did this become, standard procedure? I think that there is something to be said for the notion that if you are talking about a hardcore Republican state, there's also a very good chance that the vote count is simply not accurate. Now, is it possible that that state would have gone for Clinton? That's a whole different question. But I don't think it's accurate. I think there's a very good chance that when she supposedly scored 26% of the vote in West Virginia, maybe it was more like 27, 28%, maybe 30%. I doubt it was 26%, but it's possible. The problem is, I don't know if it's close enough in enough states that matter in terms of the Electoral College that she would have won. But if it's close enough, if it had been more like 280 against 240 or something like that, that there is a chance that maybe one or two states were given to Trump that should have gone to Clinton. When it's 290 or 300 to 211 or 220, probably not, okay? And this is the issue. Someone should be asking the question, though, in a objective manner, what exactly is the error in the count? And just what should the count have been, okay? Because if it is at all possible that 2 or 3 states swing to Clinton's favor and she wins, that would be quite a lesson for us all, would it not be? I say that is just possible. I don't make any claims that it did happen. I'm just saying it's possible. And somebody needs to figure out how likely it is that that happened. Okay, beyond that, she simply got boxed. That's all there is to it. Now, we start the finger pointing. We start the blame. We start blaming it on Obama for pushing the Cuba resolution of relations with Cuba. That cost her Florida, and that's enough to have made sure that she lost the election. Look, there's 5,000 things that people have listed as reasons why she lost, okay? Of those 5,000 things, there are things that people who voted know why they voted for one or the other. or at least they will say that's why they voted for one person or the other. And then there is what the media says is why people voted for one person or another. I find it hard to take either one seriously, because it's very possible for people to simply lie about why they voted for one person or the other, and it's also very possible for the media to simply ignore the facts or just be full of shit about why it happened. Maybe there's a chance that they're right, sure, but there's also a good chance that they're wrong, and it simply doesn't matter. What really matters, all that matters, is what the counts were. And if we have confidence in the counts, enough said, okay? It becomes just more politicking after the fact for people to say, oh, I voted for Trump to give the liberal elite a message, or I voted for Trump because I think Obama didn't care about our economy and about the plight of the middle class or in the Rust Belt or whatever, or I voted for Trump because I thought Obamacare didn't serve my needs. Look, I think the big issue with a lot of what people are saying about why they voted for Trump over Clinton is they're forgetting half the argument. And this is a classic thing, which I think we saw with the Corey Leonowski thing, talking to Van Jones or talking to or above Van Jones at the CNN summary at the end. Why aren't people giving Hillary Clinton a hard time because she hasn't conceded the election yet, because she hasn't admitted defeat yet? Why is that? If it had been Donald Trump, they would have been up in arms, everything, blah, blah. Look, and Van Jones made a good point. It wasn't Hillary Clinton who said that the election was rigged and that he might not accept the results. It was Donald Trump who said that. No one is saying that Hillary Clinton is bad for not conceding the election, because she never said she wouldn't concede the election. And in fact, it turned out that she had conceded the election at that point. She just hadn't called CNN to tell them that she conceded the election. She was busy doing other things at the time when Corey Leonowski was saying that Hillary Clinton wasn't taking the issue seriously enough. She was going to bed. She was just leaving people hanging, and she was going to bed. And they were all wrong. She was dealing with Trump in real time at that particular time. She simply left it till the next day to speak, to issue a concession speech. She prepared a concession speech, she got herself together, and she issued it, okay? But she conceded the election to Trump by phone that night. That's why Trump went to the convention at his hotel in DC and gave his victory speech, because she had conceded the election. All right, nobody at the CNN roundtable is in the loop on this. No one at the CNN roundtable is saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that, we were wrong, blah, 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 afterwards. I didn't know, because I had gone to sleep by then. I was like, forget it. Once Trump spoke, I went to sleep. So I don't know what they said at CNN between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Neither do I care, because the point is that they were talking out of their butt before they knew the facts, and that's all that mattered. So look, here in the end, let's keep this in mind. There are going to be people who say they voted for Trump because they felt like Obama didn't pay enough attention to them, didn't care about them, didn't do what they needed to see done, all this kind of stuff. And they will say the same thing about Clinton, and they will say the same thing about the Democrats, and they will say similar things about the liberals. It was all their fault, that they did all this stuff wrong, and I felt that Trump had to have a chance because I just wasn't getting what I wanted out of the liberals, the Democratic Party, and Obama. Look, Trump has the advantage in this case. He does not have a history in politics. Therefore, he does not have things in his political history that people can point at him and say that he has failed them, okay? And yes, there's going to be an argument that voting for the other guy is a good way to get the guy's attention that's in office right now, and there's no doubt about that, okay? There's no doubt about that. But look, does it make sense or not? Look, is Obamacare weakened by 4 years or really 8 years of Republican oppression? Yes. Did this woman consider that when she said that? No. Okay. Is Cuba an issue because of Obama or because of Castro? Which one? Is it Obama's fault that these Cuban Americans lost all this property and money in Cuba, or is it Castro's fault? Okay, look, Castro's not going away. The only way we're going to have relations with Cuba is either we accept the fact that Castro is there and we try to do what we can given that, or we try to go tough to the negotiating table and tell Castro, look, we are not going to negotiate relations with you, which you haven't had in 65 years, okay, unless you give back all this wealth to all these Cuban American people on their deathbed, okay? And Castro is very happy to say, I will die with that wealth in Cuba. And what would happen then? What would happen then? Okay, maybe the next person is even worse. Trump now has the opportunity to go and try to negotiate a better deal. Clinton could have done just the same. You know, there's all kinds of things that could happen. It may happen, it may not happen. Castro may say, hey, you know, we gave you a chance, you didn't want it, you didn't want the chance. Now you want to come back here talking tough. Fuck you. We'll just not have any agreement with the United States at all, and we'll go back to where we were back for the last 50 years. How do you like them apples? And what's Trump going to do? Send in the fucking Delta Force to take back this property? I mean, it's ridiculous. And you know, the end issue is, I think that if you look at these last pages that I'm going to put in from the New York Post, I think you will see all these people talking about why Trump won or why they voted for Trump, okay, one or the other, but they're all missing a central point. Even this one story about Obama not posing for the quote-unquote traditional couples photo at the White House misses a central point, okay? The Republicans dragged their asses in the ground to stop Obama at every step of the way for 8 long years. This guy, Donald Trump, was the guy who took over the birther movement, trying to say that Obama was not even American. Okay? And it took him years and years and years to give up on that. He never really came out and said, oh, I don't believe, okay, I was wrong. I guess he actually is. He never really came out and said it. He just gave up, okay? Gave up on it. There are millions of people in this country who hate Obama to the core. And Obama, what has he done to them? Nothing. What has he done wrong by these people? Nothing. But they're blaming him for all these problems. They're attacking him on all these issues. But the one thing that they're doing that is without a doubt is claiming to be Americans for American and American patriots, all while acting like socialist crybabies, if not communist crybabies, and expecting their government to help them out. They're all talking about how capitalism is this and hard work is that and patriotism is this and how, you know, white people are this and minorities are that and all this kind of stuff. But here we have these very same people looking for a handout for the government, looking for the government to save them when they can't make it on their own. Okay? And there's no way around that either. If people in this country would stop looking to the government to save their butts and actually work and be successful and then complain about taxation or regulations, that would be one thing. But to say they aren't getting enough economic support from the government is quite a different story. There's no way around that. And you can hear all these people bitching and moaning all day long about immigrants and then turn around and say the government isn't doing enough to help them. Okay? You are staring at people who want to say that the government and the immigrants are the problem and not them, all while they admit that they are not successful on their own and they want and need the government to help them. That's the people you're talking about.